but the most value lies on the inner circle, where you can remanufacture the same machine, where you can take the components out of the same machine. The circles go out where you get to the raw materials. So the more you can remanufacture, the more you can change the model, the more you can upgrade. That's where the highest value lies. But it is still economically viable to recover those materials and put them back into the system. So if you could do several inner loops, as you can see at the top right, then recover the materials and go to the outer loops and then go back into the inner loops with your next model, would be the ideal scenario. You can cascade materials through industries. One of the examples was cotton. Cotton, initially when it's produced, could be made into a t-shirt or a pair of jeans. But then that could become stuffing or insulation. And then maybe that could become seat padding. And then maybe after seat padding it gets anaerobically digested to create heat, energy and fertilizer. So multiple uses of a product going through the economy. And then finally, non-toxicity. If you mix materials so you can't separate, well, A, biological and technical, but also if there are pollutants in there, such as toxins going into the biological cycle, such as our packaging or food waste or the anaerobic digestion cycle, that's a problem. So being able to reduce toxicity and separate items is very important. And then question number 3, the global economy. Is it good for the, in fact, sorry, this was the EU economy. Is this good for the EU economy? We felt that actually overall, the circular economy would improve employment levels, maybe decrease in the primary sector, but increase in the secondary and tertiary sectors. More servicing, more remanufacture. You know, if you sent that washing machine to the scrapyard, that would employ far less people than if that washing machine was being repaired, remanufactured, refurbished, and then going back into someone's home. And then the top line figure for the EU economy was $630 billion per annum, and that was only based on that subset of 48.7% of manufacturing products that cycle in more than 1 year and less than 10, and that was only based on cycling the components, products or materials once per annum of 25%. So this was not your hard-hitting, total, everything possible scenario. This was what's possible through to the advanced scenario of 2025. And then the last report that we did, which was brought out in January this year, was based on consumer goods. So based on products that cycle in less than 1 year. This stuff where the value has been lost. All the value in all those products and materials disappears at that point because it's gone to landfill. And we looked at what if you could take textiles, so in the form of apparel, packaging, food waste, and also beverages. We looked at, that's 80% of the consumer goods sector by value. Actually only 20% of that 3.2 trillion economy, which is a consumer goods economy, is actually recovered. 20%, 80% is not recovered. So that value at that point is lost when it goes out from those manufacturers. The products, the materials, the food waste, the food itself that's left over, the packaging is not recovered. Just 20% we get back. $53 billion of value lost every year in textiles, for example. And we looked at, let's just take the food waste example. Food waste in the United Kingdom. If you could capture the value, if you could take a ton of food waste, what's in there? Well, first of all, you get $6 of fertilizer, you get $26 of electricity, and you get $18 of heat from a ton of food waste. 10 years ago, there were just a couple of anaerobic digesters in the United Kingdom. Now there are over 200. It's a technology which is increasing quickly, but it needs the feedstock. It needs those materials to flow into it. You need to get the food waste, the human waste, the farming waste. And if you could recover food waste, human waste, farming waste, and also food production waste, we looked just briefly at the global figure. If you could recover it all, what percentage of the current chemical fertilizer cost or amount in nutritional value could we cover? And we worked out, if you could, and we're far from this at the moment of course, but you could replace 2.7 times our current fertilizer use by recovering these material flows and putting it back to the land. Not only that, but you begin then to offset the cost to the global economy of 40 billion every year, US dollars, because our farmland decreases in agricultural value in the fact that it doesn't retain water to the same extent as it would have had biomass in it, which comes from the fertilizer that would be derived from an anaerobic digester. So we believe that there was not only a $700 billion US dollar economic opportunity in consumer goods per annum, this is global towards 2025, but also you have, if you can shift those material flows, the ability to rebuild the value of the topsoil of the land. Physically shift the value of that soil because it's able to do more. It's able to hold water and it has the fertilizer in a slightly different way within it.